Have you ever pondered the unthinkable? The sun, our life-giving star, suddenly exploding. Imagine, if you will, a day just like any other. Birds are singing, children are laughing, and life is moving along as it always does. Then in an instant, everything changes. The sun, our constant companion and provider, explodes. It's a thought that sends shivers down the spine, isn't it? The sun, a seemingly eternal presence in our sky, is more than just a bright light in the heavens. It's a massive sphere of hot, glowing gases, composed primarily of hydrogen and helium. Deep within its core, the sun is a nuclear fusion powerhouse, converting hydrogen into helium and releasing an incredible amount of energy in the process. This energy, in the form of light and heat, is what makes life on Earth possible. Imagine one fine day the sun explodes. What would be the immediate repercussions? First things first, let's talk about speed. Not your average car speed, but the speed of light. It's mind-bogglingly fast, traveling at around 186,000 miles per second. Even at this incredible speed, light from the sun takes about 8 minutes to reach our planet. That means if our sun were to suddenly explode, we wouldn't know about it for 8 whole minutes. During that time, everything would appear as normal here on Earth. The sun would shine brightly in the sky, the birds would chirp, people would go about their day-to-day activities, all completely oblivious to the cosmic catastrophe that had just occurred. And then, the 8-minute mark would hit. Suddenly, the world would be treated to a visual spectacle unlike any other. The sun, our familiar daily constant, would appear to grow, to brighten, to explode in a brilliant burst of light. It would be dazzling, terrifying, and utterly mesmerizing. But that spectacle would be short-lived. As quickly as it arrived, the light would vanish. The sun, the source of all our light and heat, would be gone. Just like that, our world would be plunged into complete darkness. Now, it's important to remember that this wouldn't just be a simple case of nighttime. This would be an absolute, all-encompassing darkness. A darkness like we've never known. A darkness that doesn't lift with the dawn because, well, there would be no dawn. This darkness would be more than just a loss of light, though. The sun's explosion would also mean a loss of gravity. Without the sun's gravitational pull, the Earth and all the other planets in our solar system would be set adrift in space. Yet the darkness is just the beginning of this cosmic catastrophe. We would be living in a world without a sun, a world of perpetual night, a world set adrift in the vast expanse of space. And that, my friends, is just the start of our journey into the unknown. Once the initial shock subsides, what would the aftermath look like? Now, let's delve into the long-term effects of such a catastrophic event, where the sun, our primary source of energy and life, suddenly ceases to exist. In the absence of the sun, the first significant change that we would experience is gravitational. The sun, with its enormous mass, exerts a strong gravitational pull, keeping our Earth and other planets in their orbits. But without the sun, this gravitational tether would be severed, and Earth, along with other planets in our solar system, would be sent hurtling into the vastness of space in a straight line, like a cosmic game of billiards. And as we spiral into the cold, dark abyss, the temperature would drop drastically, plummeting to -273 degrees Celsius, just above absolute zero, within a week. The Earth, once teeming with life, would transform into a frozen wasteland, a silent, icy tomb. The oceans, our life's blood, would freeze over, starting from the top and progressing downwards, until they are solid blocks of ice, burying the rich marine life beneath. The atmosphere too would freeze and fall to the ground, layer by layer, as snow. Life as we know it would come to a standstill. The extinction of most life forms would be inevitable. Without sunlight, photosynthesis would cease, leading to a collapse of the food chain. Most animals, plants, and microorganisms would perish in the cold, dark world. Only certain extremophiles, organisms that thrive in extreme conditions, might survive, clinging to life in the deepest parts of the oceans or in volcanic vents. But amidst this bleak and desolate scenario, is there a glimmer of hope? Are we destined to fade away into the dark? Or is there a chance for life to persist, to adapt, to evolve? Is there any hope for life in such a dire scenario? You might be surprised. In this bleak scenario, could life find a way to endure? One might wonder after considering the catastrophic impact of the sun's explosion. Let's delve into the depths of our oceans, where sunlight doesn't reach but life thrives. Deep-sea hydrothermal vents, also known as black smokers, spew out mineral-rich hot water. These vents, reaching temperatures of up to 700 degrees Fahrenheit, are home to a myriad of resilient organisms. These creatures have adapted to survive without sunlight, relying instead on a process called chemosynthesis, where chemical energy from the vent's emissions is converted into food. In the event of our sun's demise, these hardy life forms may have a fighting chance. Now, let's turn our gaze back to the surface, to humanity. Could we possibly survive such a calamity? The answer might lie in self-sustaining habitats. Imagine a biodome, a closed, self-sufficient ecosystem where we could grow our own food, recycle our waste, and generate our own energy. We've already made strides in this direction with projects like Biosphere 2 and the Mars Desert Research Station. These habitats could potentially allow a small portion of humanity to persevere in the face of such an astronomical disaster. But what if we looked beyond the confines of our own planet? Theoretical potential exists for colonizing other planets or moons. Mars, with its subsurface water ice and carbon dioxide atmosphere, could theoretically be terraformed into a habitable environment. Moons like Europa and Titan, with their abundant water and organic compounds, could also serve as potential sanctuaries. Our survival might not just be confined to the Earth, but could extend into the cosmos. Life, it seems, is tenacious, but what would this new existence look like? The answer to that question is full of speculation and uncertainty, but what's clear is that life, in one form or another, might find a way to persist even in the face of the unimaginable. A world without the sun is a world transformed. How would we adapt to this new reality? The sun, our source of light and life, extinguished, we'd be plunged into an endless night, a chilling void where once there was warmth. But let's not surrender to despair just yet. Mankind has always been a resilient species, and even in the face of such adversity, we might find ways to adapt and endure. The most immediate challenge we'd face would be food production. Without the sun's rays, photosynthesis would cease and our crops would fail. However, we could turn to alternative methods of growing food. Hydroponics and aeroponics, for instance, could allow us to cultivate plants indoors, using artificial light sources and nutrient-rich solutions. It would be a radical shift from traditional farming, but it could sustain us in a sunless world. Next, we'd have to tackle the biting cold. Without the sun's heat, our world would rapidly cool, turning into a frozen wasteland. Insulation and heating would become more critical than ever. We might even see entire cities moving underground, into the Earth's crust where temperatures are more stable. And then, there's the psychological impact. The perpetual darkness would undoubtedly take a toll on our collective psyche. We'd lose the natural rhythms that govern our sleep and wake cycles, potentially leading to widespread sleep disorders and mental health issues. But here too, technology could come to our rescue. We could use artificial light to mimic the sun's daily cycle, helping to maintain our circadian rhythms and mental well-being. Life after the sun would be challenging, no doubt about it, but it wouldn't necessarily be the end. With our resourcefulness and ingenuity, we could carve out a new existence in the darkness. We could build a world within the world, a testament to our resilience and adaptability. While the sun's explosion is a terrifying thought, it's also a reminder of the resilience of life and the power of human ingenuity.